Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the EcoVillage and Communities podcast. Today we have Joanne Looker. She's a resident of the Algarve in Portugal, and she's going to share some of her amazing, inspiring stories with us. I know Jo from Portugal when we visited there with my family back in 2013, and she's been a constant source of inspiration. She's a serial entrepreneur who makes her living by serving the community through her health-giving practices of healing and nutrition and detoxification. And she has a wealth of knowledge. She's also setting up a retreat center, which is a very inspiring project. It's her dream. And she's currently residing in Monchique in the mountains. So welcome, Jo.
Wow, muito obrigada, as they say here in Portugal. Thank you so much, my love. Wow, we've known each other a while, hey? Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for the beautiful welcome in, and great to be here with you, love.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us today. And yeah, I'm just very excited to have this conversation with you and learn from you, and also get to for you to share some of your experiences, because I've decided to start this podcast basically because I couldn't personally find anything out there where, you know, the subject of people coming to Portugal, which we know has been quite a trend in the last 10-15 years, people coming from all over Europe and all over the world visiting Portugal with the dream of, you know, living closer to nature in a beautiful place with beautiful weather and surrounded by a beautiful community. And at least that was our, you know, dream when we arrived in Portugal. And I know there's many others that share that dream, especially living close to nature. And Portugal is one of those countries or lands where nature is still quite untouched in many ways. So yeah, we're really inspired to hear some of your stories and your story of how you arrived, why you arrived, you know, some of your experiences that might be valuable to other members of the EcoVillage Communities Facebook group, or the wider community. There are a lot of people traveling through Portugal. There's still a lot of people coming to Portugal and inspired to come buy land, you know, set up a small holding or set up a community, and, you know, just be closer to nature, I guess. You know, it's been such a vibrant sort of movement of people over the last, at least as far as I've known, the last 10, maybe 15 years. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So I've been here 12 years all in all in Portugal, and before that I was residing in Spain for 8 years, which is a very similar landscape, a little bit hotter in Spain. And we crossed over the border because we had a property in Spain at the time, and invested in a ruin in central Portugal, which was an amazing project, and so much cheaper, as you can imagine, 12 years ago. And yeah, kind of off grid, we pumped the water from the river, built a beautiful property. But for us, with our son, who was 2 years old at the time, I found it quite isolated and not so many inspirational projects for my son to be involved in. The schooling wasn't so vibrant, you know, the educational alternative options for a child, you know, so it was very restricted. So we traveled after 4 years down to the Algarve, and we looked for Steiner schools. So we found a beautiful Steiner school in between Lagos and Sagres, which is on the west coast of the Algarve. and we resided there. So we've lived very happily in this area for 8 years. And what really makes me drawn to this area, because I left the UK 33 years ago. I didn't fit into the matrix at all. You know, I just couldn't understand why there were so many rules and regulations, and it was just beyond my comprehension, you know, of yeah, the matrix living, you know, London style. So how I can what I engage with here and what I love about Portugal is so many different qualities it has to offer. So I can see the big influx of people arriving, and it's phenomenal the amount of people arriving. You know, we were looking for a house a little while ago, and there was 45 people just looking at one property for rental, you know, in front of us. So it was, yeah, so it's really becoming very, very popular. And the reasons that I feel for this big influx is the safety. It's so safe here. The air is so fresh. You are surrounded by the waters, you know, the west, the south coast. And then when you come inland, the nature is just, you know, the rolling hills, and it's very pure in its essence. There's crystals in the ground, you know, the ley lines here in Portugal are just incredible. How, you know, the energy lines that connect to these vibrant sacred sites all over the world. It's cheap, the sun shines. You know, there's so many different aspects, and within all, you know, all these points that I've mentioned, what happens, what I see, my interpretation is healing. And the healing happens because it's not really a place to become rich, if you like, you know, although there are aspects of people doing so well and thriving like myself. It's you're more here to be connected to the nature, to start going within the introspection of yourself, you know, to connect deeply more with the cosmic energies of what we are. So I see a lot of it's quite transitional the way people come in and people go out, you know, because it can be quite hard. It's a little bit isolating as well. You know, people tend to spend a lot of time, you know, doing their things on the land, regenerating the lands. You know, there's so many different nuggets of communities all over, and it's just growing, you know, incredibly. So it's a really, really beautiful place to be. And you know, my child is 14, and it's quite interesting because, you know, if you ask him where he's from, he doesn't really know. You know, his father is African English, I am English Irish. He was born in Spain and now lives in Portugal. So with that, there's this new generation of children, you know, that all kind of are attracted to each other. You know, the bilingual, the accent, you know, you can't really pinpoint where these children are from. So there's like a new kind of evolution within the new generation. So it's really, really interesting. And yeah, it's a beautiful place for kids to grow up as well. That answers your question.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. We had a like
Yeah,
one of the main reasons I think that that I thought of starting this podcast is because, as you know, I've run the EcoVillage and Communities Facebook group for the last 10 years, I guess, and it grew from
wow.
obviously one person, and now I think it's got over, I think, 26,000 members, and there seems to be like at least 100 people a week joining the Facebook group. So when we left in 2017, you know, it was quite obviously there's a lot of inspirational people coming through, and now it just seems to be growing. It seems to be becoming even more popular. But I'll just read this letter to you, and it'll probably resonate to you. this letter and the question that this lady's asking, because she sent me a letter and she says, I am wondering if there are any communities I can join. I'm looking to buy a portion of land and perhaps build a cob house, and hoping there would be a central community facilities to work the land and socialize. Does anything spring to mind? Good luck with all you're doing. If there's any info you can forward, that would be superb. And then I asked her, are you in Portugal yet? And she says, no, unfortunately not. I'm selling a house in the UK and trying to envisage a future. I know I thrive in community, but realize that in itself is a whole new world to look into. For instance, over time, a lot of communities disagree or have confusion. So I need some kind of heads up what to look out for, pitfalls, and also, of course, more importantly, what does work well. I can only draw from my experience of having lived in a Buddhist retreat some 20 years ago near Totnes in the UK. Everything back then seemed absolutely wonderful with everybody working together. At this point, I'm not sure whether to start a community or join an existing one. So much to think about. I also know the stance of, also don't know the stance of the UK nationals buying land in Portugal now, though I'm hoping to get an EU passport as my father was Irish. I don't think it is a given. My main priority being able to live out an old age in a safe space while providing others the same grace. Any direction pointers would be wonderful. So interesting letter, because it sort of encapsulates, I'm sure, a lot of sort of ideas that a lot of people, or thoughts that a lot of people are exploring when they come to Portugal, especially from the UK, right?
Yeah, right. You just to say she is eligible if her father is Irish to apply for an EU passport. Yes, definitely. From experience, I know that. Yeah, it's a big move, but if you believe and you trust, then, everything flows in the right time. And I really believe in this from, again, personal experience. What I have a little bit of what feels unsettled within me, bringing a community together, what does that look like? You know, we're all vibrating on different levels. Some are kind of, more spiritual and others not so. So it's really, really the most important is to align with the right frequency of people that, fit. And I suppose that is really going into detail and, spending time with these people and, finding out intentions and, how the individual person works mentally as well, right? If you can hold space for each other and, communication is everything, right? And skill sets and, but for me, I think having lived in communities, it's not so easy what I'm seeing, and I think with the fluidness of the, being patient for it to evolve, rather than, setting up and bringing people in. It's gonna be challenging. It's gonna, you're gonna have challenges, right? So I feel it's almost, just trusting in the flow and the right people come at the right time. And then that is an easier transition to create a community, because what I'm experiencing at the moment with the project that I'm creating, Terra De Cura, which is a life center here, the synchronicities behind it are phenomenal. And what I've really noticed is that people who, show interest, who want to come, so we open up that potential for the people, for the individual person to come. Something happens before they arrive and it doesn't enable them to come. It like completely crashes. That's my personal experience. And it's like, I am blessed that this come into fruition before these people arrived, so it's really, really feeling your gut. This is where we hold this, we have the gut feeling, right? the gut, the heart, and the mind, and all these three are working together. So it's, you know, coming into that optimal health as well. It's what, you know, the reason why I work in this field, because then we, you know, with awareness that we can really feel into the people that are coming, because it has to really fit. So this is what I would really, really encourage people to, you know, really deeply feel into the energy that you're inviting in or going into, you know.
Absolutely. And based on my experience of speaking to a couple of people who have actually bought land in Portugal, I think it's very important. I personally, my advice to this lady would be to, when you come to Portugal, it's amazing, and you know you have all those things, nature and, you know, connection and beautiful weather and everything, but
Yeah,
don't you spend some time in a sort of a more built up area, somewhere where there are people, because it's so easy to come here, you know, with the intention to buy land, go buy a piece of land, and then find that you're isolated in the middle of nowhere, no people around you, or maybe the wrong people around you, because it only takes one or two sort of, you know, unhealthy sort of neighbors to really
yeah,
ruin your experience of being on the land, because your neighbors become, you know, you those are the people that you're in contact most of the time, right?
yeah, right. It's really, really, you know, again, from a life story that happened in central Portugal. Very shortly, our neighbor was really friendly. And then I read, oh, a big story, but I ended up really upsetting him. He was so cruel to his dog, you know, and I looked at, I protected the dog. I couldn't live with that, you know. And he turned against me. And then we started getting burgled, you know, and also you have to, you know, look at the area, because unfortunately here, you know, there's a water issue, and there's also a fire issue as well, which is, you know, which is really undebatable. There are, you know, and then if you go up north, for example, then you have, it's cold and there's a lot of rain, you know, so it's really, you know, although you, what you say, I want, you know, you can visualize the land that you want. But for me, I think it's really, really important to find out where exactly you want to be logistically. And that takes traveling around and feeling and taking time to integrate the spheres of, you know, the people in the neighborhoods and, you know, the communities around. You know, you want to be 20 minutes from everybody, you know, or do you want to be on the edge of the town, or do you want to be in the town, or, you know, do you want to be isolated? What does that mean? How old are you? Are you going to be okay in 10 years living there? You know, so there's many, many things to really consider before you purchase a property, you know, and I would take time for sure and find the right place. And
Yeah.
then the land appears, right? You know?
Tell us about your land. Tell us about your retreat center, your project that you've started.
Yeah, it's you know, and what I really say to people is just taking time, you know, just being in silence and just waiting. And I think the more we kind of come into our full being of who we are and understanding the magical spheres of life, you know, we see all the synchronicities, boom, 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 you know, and the land for me has been, you know, just reconfirmed that. And it was, I remember the guy who sold it to me, I said to him, "You're going to find me land. I know, I can feel it." And I rang him up and I said, "Have you found it yet?" "No, not yet, Joanne." And then he phoned me 2 days later. I think I found it, and I went. I was like, yes. As soon as I entered the land with the rivers, because two rivers meet, you know, just before you enter the land, my heart started going and all my cellular body. And I was like, oh my God, you know, because it's desert here down south, you know, but the river is strong. So I bought it on that, you know, Viva de Agua. No, it's like I bought it with, and then as I entered, it was like, wow, I saw the potential of this property, you know. And it's really weird because the land that I mentioned in central Portugal is very, very similar, where you have the water. It's in the valley, south facing, and which is a really, really important thing to bear in mind. You know where the property is on the hill because of the wind coming in, because it can be quite windy here because of the Atlantic breeze. You know, there's lots of different things to consider, the access, you know, and so yeah, you have the river down the bottom. So it's very pure in its essence. You know, it's like a big holding when I go to the land, my frequency, you know, of being busy on, you know, the internet or whatever, you know, all these different anxieties that one can travel through. When I go to that land, it's boom, back, nothing. Absolutely nothing going on here. It's really phenomenal, you know. And I just love it. You know, you can hear the waters, you can hear the eagles, you know, all the different at the moment, the vegetation of the land, all the wild flowers, all the medicinas that you know we're not even aware of that are growing, the natural herbs, and you know, the olive trees, they just, you don't have to do anything and they just produce this fruit, you know, so it's so magical. And so yes, so I was brought to this land, and as I said, I was like, yes, I want to buy it, you know, and I very overwhelming for me, to be quite honest, you know. And I have this moments, you know, because I'm single, I'm a mother, I work, I have my child, I rent a property, you know, a beautiful house. And every time I think I'm going to sell it, something happens that I get a message. So, for example, I would go, oh, I think I might sell it. And then an investor appeared literally on my doorstep. Joanne, I want to invest, you know, 20,000 euros. I was like, oh, okay, I have to continue with the project. And then I went to you know, and a couple of little things like that. And I had to leave my property in Borel de Saint João, and I loved it there. You know, I lived there for a very long time because the community is thriving, creative. You know, people are so in the heart. Oh, but I had to leave, and I was like, okay, where do I find a house? And I didn't even look for a while, you know, and then bing, I found a rental accommodation, which is close to Terra De Cura. And it was like, okay, universe, I have to continue this project, you know, because I'm literally around the corner. Would you believe it? You know, and it's really hard to find a house. And then another thing happened, which was like, it actually really blew my brain. You know, I was with my son on the land because he comes and I pay him money just to, you know, bring him into that kind of empowerment for his soul. You know, it's so good. You know, he wants to cut a tree or build a path or, you know, what, so many different things to do on the land. And I was sitting there and I really spoke to spirit. You know, I dropped out of my ego and just in the pure essence of that connection. And I asked for a sign of how to move forward with this land. And the very next day, I received a message from my dear sister of my heart in Africa, telling me that she's found the perfect investor. The following day, after I sent that communication to spirit. Yeah, you can't make this up, you know. It was so, and my connection with my dear sister in Africa, who I did my initiation with the African cleanse. She's a big part of Terra De Cura. So I was brought over to Africa on a 3-minute conversation. Hello, Rhoda. My name's Joanne. I'm from Portugal. I'm interested in your cleanse. Okay, I'm coming. So I flew on my 50th birthday to Africa. And dear Rhoda, she created this cleanse 26 years ago. And she has people from all over the world and has done for years. So, and she is of such vibration. I've never ever met a soul like her. You know, she has it. She has intertwined the feminine and the masculine energies and come into that pure essence of love. Really, yes. So she is serving humanity, not married, no kids, nothing, just completely, and has done for 26 years. Now she's on a sabbatical with her right hand beautiful goddess Ardeza Kia. So I was brought over to Africa and I was invited to do the cleanse with Rhoda. So she served me unconditionally for 1 week. And I just laid down and she took all the parasites, the metals, including my liver, microdosing me with these beautiful sacred African medicinas. And then deeply into a sacred medicine journey. And it cleaned my whole emotional body, my traumas that are, you know, blocked in your DNA, that are in your cellular memory from lineages of lifetimes. You know, what we're feeling is not us, it's just the environment. So all of these toxins on every single level was released from my being, and ding, and that was my initiation, and it was deep. Hey, it was really, really deep. So with that, I then returned. Oh, and Rhoda said to me, she actually, we were walking and she kind of lost her breath and she said, I just had an insight. I know you from Ethiopia. And yeah, so we are so deeply connected. She believes that she manifested me over there, and have such a deep, deep relationship. And she's coming to see me on the 15th of this month. So I'm so deeply honored, you know. And she is the teacher, she is the Medicina woman who is bringing souls back into their being. You know, so I'm working with heroin addicts and people who just want to consciously, you know, rise within their being, who are doing the spiritual work, you know. So this property, Terra De Cura, which means the land of the healing, is exactly that. And there is a big ruin on top of the land, which will be a 5 or 6 bedroom house, 5-star, that will hold the cleanses, but it will also be inviting international, you know, masters as well that we can all thrive from. There's a dome, there'll be a yurt, there is a terra mescal, you know, the outside kitchen, compost toilets, and then up is the house. So it's kind of 2 different projects, if you like, you know, not projects, but 2 different, yeah, don't know what the right word is. So road is a big part of this. Yeah, so we're going up to meet I'm going up to meet the investor in Lisboa because I need a masculine energy by my side, really, to be quite honest with you. It's a big project, you know, but it's all coming in. It's all coming in because I trust and I'm in silence and I'm waiting. You know, I don't have that friction of wanting it, and then it all comes in the right way.
That's a beautiful part of your personality, is that your level of trust in
Yes.
flow of life. You really have a beautiful way of, you know, first of all, what inspires me about you is you're always very positive. You've got a very positive outlook on life, and then you have a deep sense of trust that things will work out, and it seems to work for you very well.
Yeah, I think, you know, from a very, very young age, you know, I said to my mother, you know, if I do everything you tell me, Mum, I'm going to be you and I'm not you. I have to, you know, you have to allow me to be, you know, to spread my wings. And I never could quite work out the matrix, you know, I was confused, like, why are people cruel? Why are they unkind? Why, you know, and growing up in London, seeing all the different nationalities and people, I was like, wow, what do you guys do? What do you guys do over there? And then in 21, leaving on a one-way ticket to India, what are you guys doing? So I've understand, you know, going deeper within the understanding of the mind, you know, whatever we put our attention to, that energy grows, right? So it's like, what shall I think? Because I am the creator of my existence here. And I think, you know, when we really work from the heart more and we connect deeper to the spheres of this planet, the love, the gratitude, you know, the joy, the inner child, you know, this, because, you know, we all want to be as we grow older, we want to be younger, but when we're younger, we want to be older, right? But as you get older, it's like, you know, we step more into our wisdom and we become more, you know, we lose our face and we become more confident and knowing of who we are. So then the inner child comes out more so, you know, and we want to play, we want to enjoy. Come on, why do you want to be miserable? And that's where the cleanse comes in as well, because I've done many, many cleanses myself. And we can't be thriving when we're full of parasites and metals and, you know, our body is like breaking down. You know, we have to clean this body. We have to release these toxicities within our body, which will lift us up energetically. And then, you know, the physical and the mental then can be in harmony. And this is my work. So there's a combination of life skills, you know, of really loving thyself deeply is the most important thing we could do. And when we really love ourselves, then we can nourish ourselves on all different levels. That means people, you know, toxification in all levels. We have to purify our you know, our environment. So yeah, I wanna enjoy my life, right? And
Yeah.
you too. Look at you over there.
So I have been to in fact in Portugal when last year we arrived in December. We spent a lovely time in December with you and your family. We had a beautiful Christmas and spent some time with you in Barasanjao. It was lovely, and also got to experience your cleanse. And just to say that Joanne's cleanses are she's really an amazing healer, and the love and the dedication and the passion that she puts into her cleanses are incredible to behold. She's truly dedicated, and or you are truly dedicated, and your the sharing and the love that you put into your work is really it's amazing. So I want to thank you for the cleanse that I experienced with you, and you're so right that everybody needs to cleanse because our world is so full of toxic thoughts and toxic, you know, substances and chemicals in the air and the food and the water and everywhere in the soil, and we've got to constantly, you know, put some effort into cleansing ourselves so that we can think clearly, we can act clearly, we
Yeah.
can feel clearly.
Yeah, completely. I totally agree. And you know what? The last 2 days I've been on the internet a lot. And wow, my sleep last night, so distorted. I remember even waking up and it was like, wow, I can't believe I'm thinking all these things, you know, really visual, really felt so real. And, you know, we have to be careful of the anxiety. I think there's so many people struggling with, you know, the anxiety, the nervous system. The frequency of 4G, 3G, 5G, even now, when you're surrounded by that, if you live in a city, all you can imagine the different, the amount of houses that all have this radiation that is really coming into our personal sphere, which has a massive impact. And I really experienced that yesterday. So, yeah, that's another thing people really need to be take consciously into their awareness, is turning it off. Unfortunately, now, we're becoming so addicted to it. It's so, information. I think on average, people are picking up the phone like 200 times a day, and how many hours are you on that device? What are we actually chasing and what are we actually missing? So yeah, I just want to share that as well.
Wonderful. So are you saying that as soon as your retreat center is ready, that we're going to be able to come visit you and spend a week or so or a month in beautiful nature, surrounded by nature and your beautiful river, and experiencing all the beautiful juices and the smoothies and all the other concoctions and potions that you offer,
Yeah.
and take a moment and just love yourself and care for yourself, and leave your retreat center feeling renewed and invigorated.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Again, what is one of my slogans is that, helping to heal the world, but also that we all need to be happy, and we all need to have abundance, and we're all equal, and we're all children of God. And the most fundamental part of this journey is love. And although this project can be a very entrepreneurial experience, if you like, I also want to invite people that, like your good self, super talented, Sumesh. Wow. If you list all your credible, um, aspects of your being, you are phenomenal, so I would love to invite you to do a workshop, and the exchange would be, can I sit in, or maybe a guest who's on the property as well? So there would be no reason for you to pay, what can be 1 week now, €3,000 a week. That's outrageous. So it's for the good of all. It's so important that we rise together on this planet, and yeah, serve humanity as much as possible so we can all come together and benefit and dance together. So it really is for so many different people. I do exchanges where people can also come and work on the land and hold space on the property, or, people want to invest and create a little cabin up there. Obviously it has to be the right person. And so there's many different aspects to this idea of Terra De Cura. Yeah, we need each other.
Well, it's wonderfully exciting and wonderfully inspiring. And there are many other projects in Portugal where the same type of thing. So it seems like Portugal has the ability to attract people who are creative, who have these dreams, who have these visions
Yeah.
for a positive world, and a world where we're all equal, and a world where we're in harmony with nature. And thank you to Portugal. And they generally do welcome people coming in with these dreams and visions, and they give people the opportunity to do that, because not the same that's not I don't think it's happening in many other places in Europe, especially not in the UK. So I want to
Sure.
um I think we'll close off now, because we've done your 45 minutes. I don't want to keep you late. I know you've got a client coming. So Joanne does these retreats and detoxes where she invites her clients to come and spend some time with her. She feeds and serves them with beautiful smoothies and juices and all sorts of cleansing herbs, and really like allows them, which is an amazing service, the ability to just relax, not to have to think about anything, but just to focus on their own healing. And so it's a beautiful service. I want to thank you for that. Your service to humanity and mankind is phenomenal, phenomenal, and very, and I'm sure the people are very grateful for that service. Where can we hear about? I know the project is the land is getting developed now, and it's you're looking for investors and obviously maybe people to volunteer at some stage, and that's all being developed. I'm also helping you with the website. Where can we hear about more information about the project?
Yeah, sure. Yes, social media, right? I mean, like your good self, who I said is so multi-talented and so committed in our friendship. You've been a really good source of strength and a pillar of, kindness to me, Sumesh. If I've ever had a problem on, one of your talents, and only one of them, that is, how you work so efficiently and calmly on the internet. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I always will have a high regard for you, and recommend you to people who do want to thrive on the internet with their business. And I don't know the actual real terminology to express what you do, but you have yes, you really taught me how to build a website basically. And now you've encouraged me to that you want to assist me in creating a new one, hey? So yeah, so much as your man, everybody, if you really want help in this field of technology, whatever it may be, whatever issue, problem you have, or inspiration you may need, check out this man. And I really mean that from my heart. Thank you so much, Samesh. So yes, Terra De Cura. So TERRA CURA Life Center, LIFECENTRE.com, terradecuralifecenter.com. This is the website, and it talks about, Terra De Cura, the projects I mentioned. It also talks about the cleanses that I hold as well. So you can check out the website. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I don't often, bounce around on all these different platforms, but like I said yesterday, I did. Oh, and it's So I hope that answers
Perfect, and
the question.
I'll put that link in the notes in the description.
Yeah,
Amazing, Joe. I'm so excited. As I say, like we've been friends for a while, and you've always been an
yeah.
inspiration to me. And I'm very inspired by the service that you're offering to the people in the Algarve and all over the world with your cleanses and your retreats. And I wish you the best of luck. And I'm absolutely certain that you're going to be a phenomenal success. And this land is going to turn into a beautiful place of refuge and healing and regeneration and renewal. And people will absolutely love whatever you do, because you do it with such love and compassion and heart. So thank you everybody for joining Joanne. I think I've enjoyed the conversation so much, and if we get some good feedback from the rest of the community, I'm sure we'll do another conversation, because there's so much more that we can talk about.
Sure.
Is any last
I'd
words
just like
from you?
to, pardon, what was the last
Any,
bit?
any last words from you, Joe?
Yes. I'd also like to turn it around a little bit, if you have a couple of more minutes, just to, share a little bit about your good self, your skill set, your experience, what your service to humanity. I know that you have lots of different strengths that you are, bouncing around in, and Yeah, so I'd like to just take a moment and focus on your good self, if I may. Just share what you bring to, to humanity, Samesh. It's incredible.
Thanks, Joe. Well, I've moved into more like online work recently, and I'm very inspired to help projects like yourself to reach more people through social media, through websites, and to make it easier for that interaction between customers and projects like yourself. I'm currently working on a few projects like uh, uh, I'm working with a few therapists. I think I'm good in the therapist space, helping them design websites and helping them with their marketing and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to developing your website and creating a really beautiful website for you, something that's accessible for people and really expresses, makes it easy for people interact with your business on that sort of level. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to use technology in a way that makes, real life easier. And so we can spend more time in real life rather than in technology. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
really,
no, thank you.
really loved the conversation with you. And like I said, I'm sure we'll have another one soon.
Yeah, look forward to it. Maybe I'm going to interview you because there's so many more talents there.
I think next time, I think we're planning maybe to visit you sometime soon, and
Yeah,
we'll do a live. Bless you.
I
We'll
think
do
it's
a live.
hair.
We'll do a live video rather than a Zoom one. You okay?
Yes,
The
let's do
water.
that. Let's do that. And yeah, I look forward to that, my love.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, love.